Hi, my name is Joaquin Hernandez. This is my presentation for the mastery assignment number 2 of public speaking, and I'm going to talk about the cultural and historical significance of traditional festivals. Okay, so first of all, what are festivals? Traditional festivals. Festivals are an specific event that a culture celebrates to honor their past or something or something about their origins. What are the characteristics of this? So, traditional festivals are more than just celebrations because are part of every culture and what it means to be in a culture. Every culture has traditional festivals. Mm, there's no exception about this, and it's really important because it connects the people of that culture with their history and with their origins. So, for an overview of the main 3 points that we were gonna talk about today, we're gonna talk about the cultural importance of the traditional festivals, their historical significance, and the impact that they have in today's world. So, as I said before, traditional festivals are specific events that are passed down through generations to celebrate traditions, to honor origins or some part of their history, and to reflect beliefs and values that they had in the past. It could be good and to honor it, or bad and to regret it. So, what is so important to preserve this culture? So, basically, culture are all the customs that a community has. And it is so important to know the history that you have, not only because of your identity, but because if you know your history, you can avoid to make the same mistakes that you did in the past. So, what are parts of this culture? It could be language, music, dancing, foods, or clothes. Another important thing about the traditional festivals is that they bring people together. They connect not just family, but communities. They share identity between them, and they give a sense of pride to this community. So, what is the time where festival begins? So, festivals are from the first of the human civilizations. In the past, they were used to celebrate it when there was a big harvest, like it says here, for some regional beliefs also, or for some historical events that they already had, but also for other things. Like, for example, they could make traditional festivals for a change of season. What are some examples of these traditional festivals? One example is the Chinese New Year that celebrates new beginnings, the Diwali that celebrates the victory from the good over the devil, or in Mexico, El Día de los Muertos that celebrates the honor of the ancestors that died. And why it matters, and why history matters. Okay, as I said before, it's important to learn from the past to don't make the same mistakes that you made before, also to preserve the traditions and to respect your heritage. These are some festivals that are around my region, that is South America. As you can see in the picture, in Paraguay there's Festival de Ñandutí, in Chile Fiesta de la Tirana, are in my country, that is what I'm going to talk about a little bit more, is El Carnaval de Tilcara, which is a big celebration that lasts not just one day, but a couple of days, and it's a mix between the culture of Spain and the indigenous culture that was here before the Spanish conquest. And people dress up, dance, traditional things, and stuff like that. It's basically party. So, what is the economic and social impact of traditional festivals? Traditional festivals are an economic important because they are good for tourism. There's a lot of more tourism when there's a traditional festival. For example, as I said before, in Mexico, when it's Dia de los Muertos, people is all around the places, and this helps a lot the economy, and not only the economy but the society. It's important for local business too. For example, if you sell some food that is typical on one day, on that day probably you're gonna sell more. For jobs, there's a lot of jobs that are specific for that specific celebrations. And also, as I said before, in tourism, it's important international visitors sometimes feel attracted of these traditional festivals and they want to go to that country at that specific moment of the year. So, the future of traditional festivals. Basically, the difference between when there was just traditional media and now that is the era of digital media, the social media promote these traditional festivals around the world. And now people, for example, like me, that I'm not from Mexico, knows about El Día de los Muertos. And that's the place that it's going to. Everyone is gonna know about every traditional festival. But preserving the traditions is still important. So it doesn't matter if the era of digital starts coming, the traditional festivals, for the importance that I talked before, should still continue. So, what is the conclusion of this? Traditional festivals are key to preserve culture, protect our history, our ancient history, and unite different communities, and also the community, unite more the community that celebrates this traditional festival. Okay, thank you so much for listening, and that's it.